I broke up with my GF over my late wife and regret it. I, 32, have been with my GF, 28, for 2 years. I met her at a wedding and we instantly hit it off. I have an 11-year-old daughter from a previous marriage where my wife passed. That she did great with in the beginning. She was a beautiful, sophisticated girl. She worked in pediatrics and she just is incredible, and I thought I finally found someone after all these years. But that started to change after a while. Her attitude changed and she was less empathetic of my grief. I liked to keep things up of my late wife. We were neighbors our whole childhood and got together in the 8th grade and stayed together from there. We married at 18. A year after we had our daughter, we found out she had terminal cancer and she passed away a year and a half later. My GF now begs me to put away the photos, which I have put up some, but I will not remove them all. She's always made little comments about my late wife and I assumed it was a jealousy thing, but tonight she broke a picture of my late wife because she caught me talking to it earlier that day. That started a huge fight. Later that night my daughter was asking me questions about her mom's grandparents for a family tree thing, and my GF went ballistic and yelled, "You can just put me, I am your mom now. For the love of God, stop mentioning her." My daughter broke down into tears and ran away to her room. I looked at my GF and said, "Get out. We're done." She started crying and begging me not to, and I told her she needed to leave. She said I'd never love her as much as my late wife. I've been spamming her phone and have gotten no answer. I didn't want it this way and I feel really guilty because I really love my girlfriend. I just need her to respect my deceased wife and our grief. I don't know what to do in this situation because these things she's doing aren't okay. Advice please. Yay, you are not ready to be in a relationship, pal. Totally uncalled for by your GF. But it has been more than 10 years, dude. I feel like you need to talk to a professional. You doing this kind of stuff for your ex is going to ruin your future relationships. The dead is not watching you. You don't have to perform for them. Sounds like you both need some therapy. Yeah, you need therapy. The other angle here is his GF finally snapped after playing second fiddler to his dead wife of over 10 years. His wife is everywhere in his house. Being consistently compared to and losing to someone that no longer here must have been tough. The GF is a victim of his inability to move on from his wife. Yeah, what she did was not okay, but you can definitely see it from her angle. First, I think you need to talk to a therapist because you are still grieving and a therapist can help with that. You sound like you are struggling with it. What your partner did was not okay at all. She's competing with a ghost. I don't blame her for being insecure about some stuff, but what she did was way out of line and completely unacceptable. You raised your daughter to love her mother, who would have loved her more than anything if she could be there, and for any partner you have, they must respect that. This story makes me wish he would watch The Song of the Sea. It's an amazingly heart-wrenching Irish animated movie with a heck of a lot of similarities to this story. The dad in that film never take about his wife, but the result is the same for the kids. What she said was horrible, and there's no excuse for it. That being said, no woman wants to be with a man who will always put her second. Your wife was a huge part of your childhood and early adulthood. But you still have decades of life to live. If you can't image loving someone as much as you loved her, you are not ready to move on. Of course it would be a different love, and it doesn't need to replace the love you have for your wife. But you need to be able to accept that it will be a requirement for the woman you want to share your future with. It sounds to me like your GF has been in a relationship in which her partner isn't over the grief of losing his ex. This is no one's mistake. If you want to be in a healthy relationship, You will have to work through your grief and move on and be ready to be with a new partner. I can't believe your GF stayed in this relationship for as long as she did. Because it is impossible to live with someone who hasn't moved on. I think it was a volcano waiting to explode, and it finally did in an ugly way. Sadly, she went through years of feeling like a replacement or not fully accepted. I am not so surprised she finally broke down. Grimace grimace. Have you sought counseling? Also, I wouldn't take her back. She's crossing boundaries and made your daughter cry. Like she's not right for you, dude. Break up. Do not get back with her. She will never get past this. Now on to you. Get professional help. You need to talk to someone about grief, especially since it's 10+ years later. What your girlfriend said to your daughter shouldn't be forgivable. Protect your daughter. Choose your daughter. You're the only parent she has left. I'm sorry for your loss. Your wife really was taken from this world shockingly early. But it means that all the things she was able to do in her life were that much more meaningful. You'll always have a connection with her parents that nobody else will have. And I think it's immature of your girlfriend to break things because she's upset. Although I can see her reasoning for drawing a boundary at you talking to a picture. It should have been talked through more calmly. I would encourage that you have some grief counseling. It seems like the last decade has been really rough on you. Did your wife pass away less than 5 years ago? It might be too soon to be able to take a relationship with someone else seriously. I don't think she is crazy for not wanting to see late wife's pics on the walls or hear you talk to her photos with her present. This tells me you're not really ready to date, even though you are technically free to. On another note, her GF's pent-up jealousy went too far. She clearly snapped and took it out on her daughter and knew she did, and that's why she desperately tried to apologize and fix this. She knows she screwed up immensely, but also can't live like this. I actually think this is pretty salvageable. You need to truly move on if this is going to work, and she needs to be more understanding of your daughter's position. Everything is fixable if both are willing to change. Get grief counseling. Don't expect your GF to be your therapist. Mention to the counselor that you talk to pictures. Yikes. That girl is not your daughter's mother and never will be. My condolences. But you got into a relationship too early to void your loneliness. Focus on your grief and your child. This is coming from a kid of a similar situation. When I was 2.5, and my younger brother 1/2 a year old, my father unexpectedly died from an accident. A car hit him on his bike, and left my mother alone with 2 young kids. Around 1.5 years after my father passed, my mother met my stepfather through mutual friends. And my stepfather has been nothing but supportive for us all ever since, and I couldn't wish for a better father. The big thing is, the grief will never fully go away. Help groups or therapy can make it manageable, but you'll have to live with it as a part of your life for the rest of your life. Regarding your girlfriend, she will always be jealous. 'Cause in her eyes your deceased wife will always be a romantic rival for your affection and love. It's almost as if you're living with an ex in her eyes. And I can understand the type of jealousy she is feeling. But it is fit in the wrong place, especially with a young girl who recently lost her mother. In the picture, I don't think your relationship with your girlfriend will last if she can't accept that you grieve for your wife. Even though I'd suggest to see a professional for help to manage the grief better. Same goes for your daughter. And most importantly, you can't ever replace a deceased parent. You can take over the role of a parent, and eventually the kid will get to recognize them as their parent. But it will take a long time. It took me 10 years to start calling my stepfather Papa. And as long as your current girlfriend can't accept that, it is not only in your best interest, but also in your kid's best interest to move on. There are a lot of people who are not comfortable being in a relationship with someone whose previous spouse has passed away. They feel like they are competing with ghosts and they can't win. It takes a very mature person to accept the fact that they will never be able to replace a deceased spouse, and they shouldn't even try to replace them. The new person needs to carve out their own place and adjust their expectations for the relationship. You should probably let this relationship go and try therapy so you will be better prepared to help any future romantic partner with finding their own place with you and your daughter. And when you do get serious with someone new, suggest they join you in some therapy sessions to help both of navigate the situation. Although you feel guilty, I think you did the right thing. Look at it from your daughter's perspective. She lost her mom. Your GF cannot simply erase that history. If GF can't respect your past, why should she be a part of your future? Answer: she shouldn't. Kudos to you for standing up and having your daughter's back. She's lucky to have a dad like you. Why the hell do you want her back? She disrespected you, your daughter, and your late wife. She made your daughter cry after declaring herself your daughter's new mother. You need to realize this was only going to get worse. She was already trying to erase your wife.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.